through my mom dying, through that psychedelic experience of having my chest cracked open, through medically transitioning and starting to relax in my body in a new way, through allowing people to see my cuteness, there's something that is happening that I imagine is going to allow me to love better.
So, Sam.
Yes.
You ready to go?
Let's go.
All right. Can you start just by introducing yourself?
Yeah. My name is Sam. Do you want me to do my whole name?
What do you...
What's the vibe?
Are you professionally Sam Miller or Sam Greenleaf Miller?
I'm professionally Sam Greenleaf Miller.
Yeah.
Professionally, personally, in all the ways. Yeah.
And can you describe what your profession is?
Yeah. I work as a psychotherapist in private practice in New York City, in your same office building.
In our same office building.
Yeah.
Which is the thing, that buildings become...
hubs.
Therapist buildings.
Yeah. It's true. We are slowly but surely taking over.
Yeah. I didn't realize until we had that Christmas party how there's so many therapists in that building. And
that was just the therapist we know in that building.
Yeah.
There are therapists we don't know in that building.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was prepping you a little bit as we were setting up here about what's going to happen.
Yes.
And the idea is that this is about heartbreak.
Yes.
And I really do just want to start by hearing just some of your initial associations. Like when I say heartbreak,
totally.
What happens in what's like the phenomenological experience? Like what do you see? What do you remember?
Totally. Well, it's interesting because this is something I'm thinking a lot about these days. And in part because the first thing that happens when I think about heartbreak is actually I have a somatic experience. And that is like a literal physical feeling of like a crack in my chest, which is something that I, let's say, was gifted in a psychedelic experience not too long ago, where where I was basically asked in the moment to let my heart break, but also open. And so I've been thinking a lot about the ways that heartbreak is also a lot about heart opening.
Yes.
And it was such a physically painful experience.
Yeah.
And I can still very much call that feeling up, that physical sensation up. It's very alive for me still, which sounds sort of horrible, but it's actually it's become this very beautiful kind of almost anchor or like reminder of like a deeper, bigger work that I feel like I'm doing in this moment in my life, which is like to allow myself to be less guarded and less impenetrable and less, stoic, and to allow myself to be more penetrable, more soft, more in tune and in touch with my own pain.
Yeah.
And it's been like, it's just been a really kind of beautiful and profound experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you describe things? One, it's like really beautiful to frame heartbreak as a developmental achievement.
Yeah.
Like that it's good to be able to get there.
Yes.
And if in a way that's like, I think there's obviously maybe ways that feeling could be defensive, but I think that's not what you're saying. You're saying like true. Yeah. Your true pain.
Totally.
How would you characterize the before state? I mean, you're saying like, can you say more about guardedness, about
totally.
how you have, what your relationship to that kind of vulnerability has been before?
Yeah, totally. Where to start?
Yeah.
It's just a tiny little weak question.
Can you tell me about all of your hardest feelings and how you've kept them at bay?
So like, I mean, it's something I've been thinking about forever. I think, I grew up in an environment that was quite challenging and had to develop very, very early, strategies to like keep my vulnerability safe, keep the tender feeling safe. And that's what felt necessary when I was a kid. And I think like that, those strategies, you know, we talk about a lot in especially in the ways that you and I think work similarly therapeutically, that like defenses are really, really wise when they're developed, right? And they're developmentally stuck in time.
Yeah.
And so they're like all of these young parts that I feel like I've lived with for such a long time that were like so vehemently keeping me safe from and mistrusting the environment, because even my most intimate environment wasn't a safe space to feel scared, feel in pain, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've just like lived, I think, for a long time with conscious and unconscious like blocks around feeling, at least letting other people into feeling, knowing the ways that I've been impacted.
Yeah.
And like, I think also somewhat like remained a little bit impenetrable on an emotional level, right? Like just not letting, at least in like romantic relationships or well, in romantic relationships and friendships and in personal dynamic relationships, like not 100%, like I've definitely like gotten my heart broken somewhat, but it's like there's always a thing that I'm protecting, or I'm realizing, I'm coming to know that there's always been this thing that I've been protecting, so that the heartbreak is not as deep, it's not as penetrating as it could have been. Not to say, I mean, I think I've experienced, like the gnarliest heartbreak I've experienced doesn't necessarily land in the realm of personal relationships, which is, yeah, interesting.
What are you thinking about?
So one thing that comes to mind is like, you know, in my 20s, I don't know if you know this part of my history, but in my 20s, I made music.
No.
Yeah.
I know that you can sing and play guitar.
Could sing.
Yeah.
Now I'm in puberty, and that's a whole other fucking bag of tricks. But
oh man.
yeah, yeah, totally different.
I heard you sing 6 months ago.
Yes, like tentatively.
Yeah.
Like just letting it starting. I'm like figuring out this new situation, but it's completely in flux and changing. But yeah, in my 20s, I made a lot of music. I really was sort of singularly focused, like had this sort of dream and worked at it. And also was a 20-something-year-old highly traumatized person who was just like slamming my body around the United States and through relationships and like trying to figure out who I was and how to love people in a really messy way.
Yeah.
But the sort of primary focus of my life was really orienting around how do I creatively express myself and how do I get people to want to listen to those expressions.
Yeah.
And it culminated in at like around 28 in having someone pay for and co-produce a record that was released on a small label. And that record came out, you know, there are things about it at the time that I was very frustrated with in terms of like having access to collaborators. But all in all, like I was proud of it and it sounds beautiful. It was recorded in a beautiful studio. And
what is it called?
That's a secret.
Okay.
We can talk about that later.
Okay.
Because it's something that I like actually hold a lot of heartbreak around now. So I made the record. It came out. I mean, this is like this was 2000. I don't know how old I am. This was 20. This was literally 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So whatever that is, 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
So pre a lot of internet, pre a lot of, you know, there was internet, but it wasn't, I think I was on MySpace, you know, this era. And after the record came out, my main creative collaborator had a kind of like a nervous breakdown of sorts. The record label hired a press agent who really didn't know how to promote me. I think gender-wise, sonically, I think I was a little bit like, there just weren't like trans people making music at that moment, really. There were, but they were very underground, and so they just didn't know what to do with me. And the queer music that was happening, like especially the like assigned female queer music that was happening at that moment was very like Electroclash, and like, you know, a lot of my friends like were you know, like I had friends who were in La Tigra and like these bands that were very like party, and my music was very quiet, soulful, introspective, heartbreaky, like country music essentially. And so it was made, it was this huge labor of love. It was made with so much support, financial support, and then we like toured it a little. My bandmate had a nervous breakdown, and then it just sort of fell on its face. And at that moment, I was like 29 and coming into 30, and it was like just devastating. I also, at that same time, I'm not really sure like the chicken or the egg, whatever, but like I kind of just like also realized that I had nothing left to say creatively in that moment. I just like could not write, could not create, like just was like done.
Yeah.
And it was like brutal, totally brutal.
What did you want to be? Did you have a vision for like?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I wanted to like tour, you know, I wanted to like tour nationally. I wanted to like, at that moment I just was like, somebody just pick me up, somebody big, like at that, like, I don't know, like I was listening to a lot of like freak folk music of that era, like Bonnie Prince Billy or like, you know, Joanna Newsom or like these, like someone like that, like pick me up and put me on your tour as your opener.
Yeah.
Right? Like get me a wider audience. But like, I think I was just too queer and trans and weird.
Yeah.
And like didn't have that reach. I remember meeting the Coco Rosie people, maybe this will edit out later, we'll see, but I remember meeting the Coco Rosie girls, and they really liked they saw a set of mine and really liked it. And they had a lot of access at that moment. One of them was dating Devendra Banhart. But it's like, I just couldn't like nail it.
Yeah.
And the connections I did have in the music industry were like a little funky, like, you know, like some famous-ish folk musicians were one of whom were in a band, and one of whom was dating my ex. And so like they knew me, they knew my music, but they also kind of like had a like complicated relationship to my success. So yeah, it was just brutal. And that time was really confusing, and sort of like, I think I went through a few years of just being very like, who am I if I'm not this?
Yeah.
What am I doing if I'm not doing this?
How do you understand the meaning of the dream? Why that?
Why that dream?
Yeah.
I mean, I still have a desire to creatively self-express.
Yeah.
I like an impulse.
Yeah.
And I still feel like I still have the delusional, perhaps, sense that there's something about my particular creative self-expression that could be useful in a larger, broader sense.
Yeah.
That it's important.
Yeah. And maybe both. Maybe like if I can get people like that being able to articulate whatever the thing is so well that it would like liberate something.
Totally.
Or you'd be like, to actualize in that way would be
Totally.
very important for you, but it would go both ways. If I can say it right, then it will be right for me, and it will be right for an audience as well. Yeah,
totally. And I think when I was younger, there was definitely ego tied up in it as well, and I'm sure still now as well, but like definitely when I was younger, like I wanted to be loved in that way.
Yeah.
I wanted to be loved in this like, I'm giving you something so pure from my heart, and I want everyone to just like love me for it.
Yeah.
And also want to fuck me.
Yeah, okay.
Which was, you know.
I also wanted to have sex with whoever I wanted. But that's like, I am, that's interesting to think about the relationship between a fantasy, like wanting to make yourself an object for idealization and how, I don't know, like I like what comes to mind is like, if romantic love, and it sounds like you were dating, but like that this was your real sweetheart was this dream.
Definitely.
And
passionate.
Yeah. And like if there's something, it's both like a longer shot. It's like a longer shot, but somehow safer. Right. To be like, I don't need one person to be in love with me. I need a million people to be in love with me. Right. Somehow that's more protected.
Totally.
And
also like you can like the way that people then fall in love with you is you mitigate, right? Like you let them in the ways that you want to let them in.
Yeah.
There's something so I think there's like something that I'm learning right now about letting myself be a little bit freer and letting people love the less scripted or less intentionally expressed
Yeah.
ways that I am.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's the sort of funny way that I'm thinking about it, like as we turn from 2025 into 2026 is like 2026 is the year that I'm going to allow my friends to like know how cute I am.
Yeah.
Like I've been so like cool and tough and measured.
Yeah.
But actually I'm just like really cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like letting myself be known in those like more vulnerable, childlike, sweet, tender ways. Yeah.
And versus like the dream of being the rock star, folk star,
Yeah.
country star is like,
Sexy,
I'm just being cool. I'm just being fucking cool.
Yeah.
Oh, like that's the pop stars. It's a fantasy of
Yeah.
a different kind of person.
Yeah.
I wonder about, growing, and I don't mean to be like trite about it, but like, I wonder about growing up. I wonder about like gendered trauma and like that protectiveness. Like, I wonder about how you got, what was that like for you? Well, how do you carry it now? Like, it's just like,
So
I mean,
much to say about that.
the music dream is actually telling of like that. Right now, if you're like, yeah, I'm a trans country artist, like, great, you're going to go to the trans country festival.
Right.
Like, it's, and I don't mean to, I know, I'm not saying it's like so easy for people, but there's more of a precedent for that kind of diversity.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
I'm so actively, well, I go in and out, let's say. I'm being so actively jealous with young people who get to live in this, even though we are in like a very terrifying time to be trans, there's also, it's just so much more liberated than it was.
Yeah.
And like, I'm so, when I see these like beautiful young trans kids like expressing themselves creatively in their like beautiful, perfectly like unaged skin.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
the collagen.
The collagen of it all. It's brutal. But yeah, I have so much to say about gender and trauma and heartbreak. I this is a maybe unpopular, whatever, who cares? I feel like I can really track the formation of my gender through through a sort of my experience of childhood, and particularly my relationship to my mom. Which is that I feel like at some point in my trajectory, I feel like I've always been a non-binary soul. Like my favorite outfit growing up when I was little was to be in costume, whatever that costume was.
Yeah.
Like, just let's play.
Yeah.
And we can play in all of the directions and they're all true.
Yeah.
But at some point, I think in my young life, I realized, or I unconsciously took on the role as my mom's protector. And I think that landed in my body in a very like masculine warrior kind of way. I have a very vivid memory of walking down the street. I was probably in middle school. And I remember the visceral feeling of feeling like I was wearing like a full suit of armor. And it was like clinking, like and I just like walking down the street, like next to my mom, just like, come at me, kind of. And I remember actually being in summer camp around that same time, and there was this like older butch camp counselor whose birthday was the day before mine, and we were like, there was a mirroring thing happening there. And I remember one time she like caught up to, I was walking ahead of her on a path, and she caught up to me and she's like, Sam, I just want to tell you, you walk so tough. And I was like, like, yes. I'm here, I've arrived. And there was something about that.
That's so sweet.
It was so sweet. And then that sort of, like, there was something about that just that kept getting kind of like like people just kept reaffirming it. like I see you and it's hot, or I see you and it's so like, you know, it's so vivid.
Validating.
It's so it was so validating. But there was also something that I think I lost there, like a softness that I like lost access to, because what kept being validated was this like, I'm cool, I'm tough, I'm hot,
Yeah.
I'm armored,
Yeah.
I'm shiny,
Yeah.
light, like refracts off
Yeah.
my armor, you know, just this sort of like, and yeah, I think that's part of what I've been kind of like stripping off over the decades, is this like these layers of armor. And it's interesting I think one of the things about medically transitioning, which started for me in my 40s already, in 2020, is that there's something about medically transitioning and appearing in the world in a more legible way to other people that has allowed me to soften. It's like, I don't need that armor so much anymore because I'm not living in a hypervigilant state as much. And I like, there's just something that got resolved. It's so cool.
I really relate to this. And I don't know, like, not in such a, my experience is more of like, it's more dissociative, like more like it didn't occur to me to like consider masculinity until I was like 35. That I was like, oh yeah, I guess I could do that. But like it somehow was like, and I don't mean to be like, there's a way in which this gets taken and pathologized of queerness and whatever, but that's not what I mean. But like, I just, I think masculinity as it's set up in early childhood was really not working for me. And so I think I was like, well, fuck this. And I'm gonna fuck that. I don't care. I don't care. I don't need that. I don't need to be that way. And then, but yeah, something about getting old enough to be like, what if I did? Like, and I'm not saying that like now I'm suddenly very masculine, but like, but there was, I had an experience, it was in a breakup actually. It was in a state of heartbreak where I was like, it was like the word came to me. It was like masculinity. And something about that cracked open space was like, yeah, you could have that. Or like, what if? And that's totally. I really relate. But how do you understand that trajectory as it relates to romantic connection, heartbreak?
The gender trajectory?
Yeah.
Well, I think like, so another kind of subtext in all of this in terms of transitioning and gender and all of that is that when I started medically transitioning, it coincided, or it sort of lined up with the last handful of years of my mom's life. And so there was something about her dying and she had Alzheimer's too, so she died in kind of stages. Like I lost parts of her in stages. As she lost parts of herself. But there's something about that was weirdly also so liberating for me in terms of my gender, in that like the role that I had played for her was no longer necessary. I didn't want to play it. I needed to be softer. Both of my parents were very like cool and radical and hippie and new agey in their own ways, and actually kind of radical and extreme ways in some arenas. But around gender, we're like highly essentialist, like very much like your beautiful body is exactly what God intended, kind of. So medically transitioning was a little bit of against the tacit rules of my family. And so when I kind of just gave myself that gift, it was a little bit, it kind of had to be as my mom became less of a presence, right? This sort of like looming presence, this almost like this person that I had this soul pact with, right? Like
individuation.
Yeah, totally. And so, I think, but all in all, I think that in terms of romantic relationships, like I'm in some process right now where through my mom dying, through that psychedelic experience of having my chest cracked open, through medically transitioning and starting to relax in my body in a new way, through allowing people to see my cuteness, there's something that is happening that I imagine is going to allow me to love better. Love other people better.
Yeah.
Love partners better. Love
Yeah.
more deeply.
Because you're just saying, witness me. This is it.
Yeah.
This is who I am.
I can be more seen. I can
Yeah.
also be more vulnerable. I can surrender in ways that I haven't.
Yeah.
I just haven't. I haven't felt safe enough to. There's always been I just actually got the word surrender tattooed on me, but there's always been this like part of me that's like, nope.
What is can you get more granular with that?
Yeah.
Like, what is the felt experience of, say I don't need you to talk about someone specific, but like, say you're in a relationship, and you're like going through the days together.
Yeah.
How does that show up in the relationship?
I think, it's funny. I had a really cute moment with my therapist recently where we were talking about the two large archetypes of relationships I've been in. And I think maybe describing those helps me understand a little bit more, or answer that question a little bit more specifically. One has these are historic archetypes. Let's hope that we're not going to repeat them.
Yeah.
Why? One is that I am the support staff to the partner who is the star.
Yeah.
And so that is incredibly, it's so conveniently, I stay so conveniently hidden.
Yeah.
That person is the focus. I do everything. I build up the entire infrastructure of a world around them. I take care of them.
Yeah.
I'm so supportive. I create the conditions for their surrender. They get to absolutely feel this safe, tender embrace.
Yeah.
Where they get to sort of relax and be loved and be nurtured and be reparented in some way. But I am completely back here.
Yeah.
So that's one archetype. And the other is like...
but back here, how?
Back here meaning
like I get what you're saying, but can you talk about like I guess what I'm imagining right now is like a younger person watching this and not knowing exactly what that would feel like to be that compartmentalized.
Totally. Yeah, so like what does one get out of relationships where you are dating someone or partnered with someone or married to someone even, for instance? Could happen. Where they seem to be taking up all the space. Right, where their stuff is at the center all the time.
Yeah.
I had to ask myself after a number of those relationships, okay, clearly it's not just that everyone in the world is a narcissist. Clearly I am attracting people to me for a good reason.
Yeah.
What am I getting out of this? And I realized that when someone else is taking up all the space, I get to hide.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking at me. Nobody's asking, like my partner is not really that concerned with who I am.
Yeah.
So I get to stay hidden.
Yeah.
And I get to stay hidden, and that feels safe.
Yeah.
That means,
There's something kind of easy.
Oh my God, incredibly easy. I remember being in couples therapy, breaking up with someone 15 years ago. And my ex was like, in couples therapy was like, why don't we ever talk about you? And I was like, I would love to talk about me.
Yeah.
Like, do you have questions?
Yeah.
Like, and this was, 4 years into a relationship.
Yeah.
Like, are you curious? And I did at that point want that curiosity because we were ending, but there was also something I got out of that not being the way the relationship was shaped for so long.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think it's safe. It's like, we sometimes can orient around people that take up all the space or suck the air out of the room or demand all the attention or need the caretaking. Yeah. And I think like it's also so validating to play that role, right?
Yeah.
Like you get to be this like remarkable person for someone else.
Yeah.
And this like, reparative parent, this like loving force, and I'm good at it. which is why I became a therapist.
Yeah.
And hopefully put that energy into that container instead of having it in my romantic relationships.
Yeah. Relatable. Relatable. But I think what as I'm getting older, what I'm appreciating more is also that like that can be all happening on one dominant current. But there's lots of threads and frequencies in relationships. So it's not all the time. It's not like there are ways you were known by those people.
Absolutely.
And all of and it's like it's like larger and smaller threads being woven in and out all the time.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's not like I never ever surrendered or never ever, right? But the dominant, the biggest theme, the like dominant narratives were such. And I will say, like, I had a recent ex of mine and I were talking, and we're sort of reflecting on a relationship that had sort of taken that form a bit.
Yeah.
In that, like, well, actually a different form. But it was one in which felt like more like, I think we inadvertently fell into a sort of parent-child dynamic.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh man, I just don't like when you talk to me like that. I don't want that from you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want that to give that to you either.
Yeah.
And I will sometimes. I will. And it's actually probably sometimes really appropriate. But guess what? I also want that from you sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, can we take turns being the baby?
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's like, I think to me, it's like, there's also something very genuine about that part of me. The part of me that can and wants to do that work.
Yeah.
Right? And that give that kind of caretaking.
Yeah.
I would say the other archetype of relationships I've been in is one in which I have like outsized influence. Where I feel like I'm like too big and too like, the other person is sort of orienting around my solarity.
Yeah.
And my therapist and I were talking about these, and she kind of pointed out that they were a little bit parental. Like, one is like in my parents' marriage, one relationship is one, I'm playing one parent, one relationship I'm playing the other. Yeah. But she was like, let's dream into a new archetype, a new paradigm. And I'm super into that, and I'm curious about what's possible. I don't know. I mean, there's an analytic part of me that's like, good luck. But, but I want to dream into some spaciousness.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, and it's also, I mean, what's interesting, like, the relational analysis piece of that is like, you're going to pick a different kind of person who's going to impact you in ways that hopefully that can take place.
Right. It's like, am I yet attracted to the person that can play can ping pong with me in a different way?
Yeah.
TBD.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard because you to contrive an attraction feels
is impossible.
impossible. Yeah.
So it's interesting though, like, just to come back to heartbreak, like I think just even talking about this, like there's something just so sad about it, right? About I guess I'm sitting with this feeling of like that there's something so heartbreaking about not totally knowing yet, or not having known totally yet, how to fully like love and be loved.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
My current therapist, when I was saying something about like expressing frustration about what I was learning at 43, and I was like, God, how is this happening? And she like looks through the Zoom, and she's like, oh, sweetie, people don't live long enough to grow up. Which is like very upsetting, and how amazing.
Totally.
That we get to spend the whole time evolving and changing and learning.
Yeah. I like to remind my younger clients when they're like turning 28 or something, they're like, oh my God, I'm so old. I'm like, actually what's so amazing is that like you're going to be 28, and then you're going to be 29, and then you're going to be 30, and then you're going to be 31, and it's going to go on and on and on and forever. It's so long. And it's like, and it just keeps going on. Every year you get to learn more. Yeah. And you get to actually know less in some ways. Yeah. It's so cool. Yeah.
It is really cool. You're 28, making music. When do you start to admit the loss of the dream? Like, was there a moment when you were like, I can't keep doing this?
Definitely, and I don't know if there was like I can't pinpoint that moment anymore in my memory, but that time, like 28, 29, there was, it felt like this sort of slow arc. Sorry, my stomach is making a lot of noise.
I thought it was mine.
They're chatting.
Yeah.
There was like this slow arc down, like this sort of like oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And the more, yeah, my bandmate and I, my primary collaborator and I, like they were the person that I toured with, and we went on like a little regional tour while they were kind of falling apart, and that was just like so painful. I think during that tour I was like, okay, like this collaboration isn't gonna work, so that means I'm in it alone.
Yeah.
And I already feel so alone in it, and so like the people that are trying to help me don't know how.
Yeah.
And I don't know how.
Yeah.
And I'm like a poor kid.
Yeah.
I don't have the financial resources to like
Yeah.
dream up new strategies. Or,
Yeah.
You know, I have to go to work.
It was your profession, not just like a vanity thing.
I mean, I was trying to make it my profession, but I wasn't making enough money doing it. So I had to like have other jobs, and I needed those jobs to live. And at some point I just was like, I can't, yeah, it just was this like kind of, this reality was dawning on me slowly. This it was like a sunset, like a slow motion sunset throughout a year of just like watching this thing kind of fall on its face.
Yeah. What did it feel like?
Horrifying, gutting, like so confusing, so profoundly confusing. Like because it was also wrapped up in my identity, which I think for a lot of people relationships can be too. Like, who am I without this person, or who am I without this relationship?
Yeah.
It was very much that for me. It was like, who am I if I'm not? Who am I if this isn't my dream? Who am I if I don't obsessively write and like carve out time to make music? Who am I if I'm not constructing my life around pursuing this thing? And there were a couple of years, I would say a couple of years of just like wandering around kind of like a ghost. Like just, I felt like a kind of shell of a human. I moved to Philly. I moved back to New York. I don't know. I was just sort of like so lost.
How do you understand, what was it about your sense of self that was attached to that dream? Like what got taken from you? If I can't pursue this, what was gone?
Kind of everything. It felt like everything.
Yeah.
Like my sense of self-worth.
Yeah.
My sense of purpose. My sense of myself as an artist. I think also like growing up, I feel like I had sort of fought to be like, no, I get to have this. Like I don't have financial buoyancy.
Yeah.
I am queer, I am trans, I look different, I am like this messy person, but I gotta fucking do this. Like you know. And so when it fell apart, it was like, oh my God, like also like, yeah, what am I gonna do? Like how am I gonna construct a dignified life for myself?
Yeah. And I mean, there's like real parts of this and narcissistic parts of this.
Definitely.
About like, this is relatable, about like relationship to class. Like, okay, yeah, middle class, sure, whatever, but I'm not like from this town. I'm not like, I had like a total delusion about being more than my circumstances, which is true,
100%.
and we're dehumanized by all this and blah, blah, blah. But I brought my own grandiosity.
100%.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I remember watching some season of RuPaul's Drag Race where the first queen to talk about delusion being like a necessary ingredient and being amazing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah.
Like, yes, like any committed artist is delusional and grandiose.
Yeah.
And it's a necessary part of it. And I really was. And like, I think there was something about that, like kind of being like, oh shit, what if I'm not good? Like, what if this fell apart because I'm actually not good?
Yeah.
I mean, that was also just like in there in this like profound way. What if I'm not special?
Yeah.
What if I've been deluding myself that like, I'm from this particular background and I'm, you know, but I'm special and I don't belong in this town, right? I get to, right? What if that's not true?
Yeah.
What if like the friends that I'm seeing kind of ascend in this particular way have something that I don't?
Yeah.
And it hit on every level. Like, what if I'm not hot? What if I'm actually unattractive?
Yeah.
What if I'm not smart?
Yeah.
What if my art, like the way that I know how to creatively self-express doesn't appeal to people?
Yeah.
What if I'm like totally not appealing?
Yeah.
Like, it's brutal.
Yeah.
It was brutal. And it felt, I think another thing about like romantic love that gets all confused in this, especially in this period of time, is that I think romantic love and like romantic affirmation, sexual affirmation became this thing that I then like cultivated in really messy ways to like stuff the gaping wound, like just stuff it full of gauze and whatever else.
Right.
And I feel a lot of shame for the ways that I like was in relationship in those years.
Well, it's interesting to think about the one archetype of like the more outwardly narcissistic person,
right,
and being like, I'll prop them up.
Right.
Like that's like its own
right,
secondary narcissism.
Totally.
And it's like, but they're going to get on stage.
Yep.
And I'll be in the wing,
right,
supporting them.
Being like, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, all those questions, am I hot? Am I desirable? Am I smart? All that, like, I wish someone, and I guess they did in various TV specials or whatever.
Right.
But like, I really wish someone had been like, these are the normal concerns.
Right.
Like
everyone's
having these concerns.
Yeah,
and
totally.
the answers to them are going to be more complicated and individual and learned across time. Like it's so hard to take all that on in early adult life.
Ugh, so hard. So hard. I think too, for me, I've always had this experience of being a person. I remember a really, really key figure in a mentor in my college experience reflected this back to me and actually put language to it for the first time, which was so helpful. But I've always had this experience of being a like profoundly not neutral person, like a person for whom people project upon quite easily, either very positively or very negatively. There's not a lot of gray. I think that's changed over time a little bit, but even still, these days, like I find myself again and again in situations where I'm either like you know, the villain or the hero. Well, you know, just
good or bad object.
Exactly. Not a lot of gray. And so I think in that era where there were these profound, obviously very human questions. Yeah. The mess the like kind of vulnerability and the mess and the lack of language and the lack of trust that I had in showing anyone how desperate it actually was. Yeah. Meant that they weren't seeing how scared I was. They weren't seeing how in pain I was because I didn't know how to say it. Yeah. I think they could tell, but how it was being expressed was so externally and so messily that I just ended up hurting people potentially or appearing scary, becoming a villain, and then that adding on to the experience of desolation and shame, which was so brutal.
Really wise to share. So we've known each other in our 40s. I actually really don't experience you as someone who's pulling for a particular thing. I don't feel that I have to idealize you. Yeah. In our friendship, you've really we both, I think, we're like getting to know each other slowly and more deeply across time. And it feels not BPD in a way, in a way that I maybe inhabited more often.
Yeah.
While all those questions while that's so alive, you meet someone that like seems cool. It's like, yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's love each other forever. And
I'm going to seduce you now.
yeah.
Right.
And so if that was once true, at least my experience is that you're far from that.
Yeah. It's interesting.
At least in friendship.
Definitely. And these last number of years have been a year about learning how to be a little bit more like that in friendship. Mm-hmm. Friendship has actually been a quite scary space for me historically. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad to hear that. That's so relieving. And I've realized recently that like I do encounter people still who I feel, I don't know if I'm necessarily pulling for it, but I do feel kind of place, or maybe I am. I had a friend recently say like we were talking about the ways that we sort of are defended in friendship, and they were like, yeah, you have this like presence. There's like it's like maybe intimidating, or just like it's like you walk in with a lot of presence. And I think for some people that can be there, it can just be a screen upon which they can project whatever fantasies they want, good or bad. And I still experience it a little bit, but what I'm coming to kind of know and value is my capacity to discern the experience of that happening early and be like, nope.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go towards this friendship because we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And this can be natural, and it can be slow, and it can be, and just sort of be like, yeah, okay, no. Whereas before I kind of would maybe get a little bit more sucked into the drama of that. Either I'm going to prove how good I am to you, or I'm going to like,
it's just less interesting
or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, but you know yourself better, so it's like the idea of like getting cast in some other drama, some other show is like,
it's
why?
not appealing.
Yeah.
It's stressful.
How did you? I mean, you've made reference to the mess of this time that was happening in relationship. What were your coping your like maladaptive 29-year-old coping strategies?
30, 31, 32, 33,
34, 38.
36. What were my maladaptive coping strategies? I think I was very attached to being desired. And I think I wasn't as... There she goes again. The stomach is... Yeah. I think, I was very attached to being desired. I think I was very attached to securing attachment through being seductive.
Yeah.
And I think I was less able to... I just didn't care as much, or I was less able to care. I think I did care. I tried to care, but it felt like it was like almost impossible. Like this other beast was too hungry. So I couldn't quite care enough about the ways that my procuring that love, that desire, that affection hurt other. There were innocent bystanders that were
like you could ask for people to invest emotionally in you, and without being worried about what that investment asked of them.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or like who got hurt in the process of that.
Yeah.
Right. So I thought about it and I cared a little bit, but the beast was hungrier than the care. Like, okay, so you have a partner. Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously the relationship isn't good enough, so I'm going to seduce you because you want to be seduced by me.
Yeah.
And that person is going to be
every man for himself.
Yeah. Every man for himself.
What do you think that cost you?
A lot. Socially a lot, relationally a lot, in terms of my own, I think I wish I had been in therapy earlier. Why weren't we in therapy earlier? When did you start therapy?
I couldn't afford it.
I couldn't afford it either, like at all. But also like now the kids like they just go to like an institute and get like
Yeah, you
$20.
find it.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
why wasn't anyone being like, Sam, here's a $20 a week therapist?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel, and not that it was somebody else's job, but I
Yeah.
didn't know how. I didn't even know that was possible. So
It's weird because my parents were always in some kind of therapy, and I think I was probably the dominant reason is I was scared about what I would have to talk about.
Sure.
And it was so like I was really traumatized by the closet and in terms of like compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
And so I think I had some idea about like, well, you're going to have to integrate this.
Right.
And I just like the whiff of that. I think I was scared of.
that's really interesting. Yeah. I'm sure there is some of that going on for me too. Although I think I also had this like compulsion to tell my story, like just wanted to keep kind of talking about what I knew to be true about myself or what, you know. But I think definitely less maybe in terms of queerness, but certainly in terms of gender stuff. I think I was also probably not. Like,
avoiding. I'm talking mostly about gender. Like I mean, there was like fucked up stuff about my sexuality, but like, but I think the harder stuff was like, how am I being perceived? Like, how am I inhabiting gender? How like there was so much in my house. Just like it was on one hand the only thing we talked about, like it's so talked about, but never directly. Like it was all these little wars through like a toy or a sport or who am I friends with? It was like, and so I just, and that always felt so hard.
Yeah.
So like the idea of like a just frank conversation about what's really going on, and not that my parents didn't try. Like they were in therapy. That we were. There were attempts to talk about this stuff, but it just didn't go that great.
Right.
And so, sitting down, spilling, I just didn't know what that even was.
Oh.
Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah.
That sounds hard.
Yeah. 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 Anyway, yes.
But what was the thing that
cost.
got you into therapy?
Well, yes, I don't want to also avoid the question of the cost because it's a good question.
Yeah.
And I am noticing that I am doing that.
Uh-huh.
I had my parents, I like had a breakup when I was 25 and I came back to my hometown and lived there for a little bit. And my parents were like, you should maybe go to a therapist. We can help you pay for 2 sessions. And I was like, okay, so I have 2 sessions. I was like, okay, done.
Yeah.
And then I went to therapy finally in my early-ish 30s, like maybe 32. At the nudge a friend nudged.
Yeah.
And said like this person will work with you in a sliding scale way. And I think I saw the person every other week and I paid them like $80. And even that was extremely financially stressful, but at the time, but I was like, this is good.
Yeah.
And that therapist was like, good enough.
Yeah.
And actually I applied to grad school during that work and, and started going to therapy a lot more. But the cost, I feel like I think one thing I mourn about my 20s and early 30s is the cost of my mess on my relationship to community. Because like, I think, I've been working for a number of years since, a couple decades now, or let's say a decade and a half, on rebuilding and like understanding what community is and what community means to me. But I think I was so, was raised in a totally isolated household, and so didn't understand really didn't trust and didn't understand community. Friendship even was like a little scary. And so like the cost of making such messes and alienating people and hurting people and not behaving in ways that were particularly socially responsible. At the same time, it being like, I don't know, something in the early 2000s and me looking like a, queer and transsexual human being in the world that was not particularly friendly to that identity was really stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I needed people.
Yeah.
And I couldn't fucking admit it.
Yeah.
I could not admit it. And I wonder in some ways if I kind of acted so provocatively in order to create a certain kind of isolation that reinstated that, no, fuck everybody. I don't need anyone.
It was self-fulfilling and snowballing.
Yeah.
And
right. I'm a survivor. I can do fucking anything. I'm tough. I got this.
Yeah.
We're so dumb because I was so sad and lonely, actually.
Yeah.
And felt bad for hurting people. There's been so much mourning of that since.
Yeah.
The ways, and there's still people that I seriously owe apologies to. There's mostly one, but 2, 3. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, regret is maybe a good. I'm trying to think of what the next theme for this will be, and maybe it's regrets.
Yeah, that's a big one.
But that's because that's in the learning, in the therapeutic process. There's always this of oh, I could have done that so different.
Yeah.
This could have been more loving. It could have been more tender, more connected, and it's hard to face that.
Hard to face that it actually couldn't have been, right? That this is right? Yeah. I was thinking the other day, that familiar feeling of wanting to kind of surgically remove the parts of my psyche that are relationally traumatized.
Yeah.
So that I wouldn't have to do this learning in such relational and painful ways.
Yeah.
And also now kind of holding the companion reality that it is exactly that relational trauma that makes me the unique relational person that I am.
Yeah.
It's such a fucked bind.
Yeah. And that the way you're learning to go through it that's humanity. You're being a human.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes. And that, I'm reading right now Arundhati Roy's Mother Mary Comes to Me. Do you? So Arundhati Roy is a novelist from India. She wrote a book in the 90s called The God of Small Things that was her first novel and it won the Booker Prize.
I've heard of that.
Crazy. Who does that?
Yeah.
She's incredible. She's an amazing writer. And she just wrote a memoir. And it's about her very traumatic relationship to her mother named Mary, who had just passed. It's so beautiful.
Oh, read it.
It's so beautiful. But so much, it's just a meditation on this. It's the stuff that you are, the ways that you are so traumatized and so shaped as a kid end up being the exact ingredients for the ways that you then screw yourself over again and again and are the source of all of your creative.
Yeah. Do you dork out on hero's journey stuff?
I'm a hero's journey guy. My brother Max, who's in psychoanalytic training, he is anti-hero's journey. So we have this funny thing.
Sorry, Max, but that's always the lesson in that too. Is the thing you're so afraid of, is the thing that liberates you.
Right, and it's I also kind of get into the archetype of Chiron, who is do you know about Chiron?
No.
Okay. So Chiron was in Greek mythology was the king of the centaurs. So man on the top, beast on the bottom, and he didn't really roam around with the centaurs. He lived on the side of a mountain, and he was a surgeon and an herbalist and a divinator. So he read the stars and. He was a teacher, learned person. So when Achilles was a teenager, he was sent up to Chiron to learn whatever he needed to learn. And Chiron was you're an amazing fighter. Why are you here? But there was a party, at some drunken party, drunk Heracles shot him with a poisoned arrow in his in his back legs, in his
Okay.
animal part. So if we're thinking psychoanalytically, like in his id, in
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
right?
The beast.
In the beast.
Uh-huh.
And
I'm bad at the beast.
it was, he was immortal, right? He was a god, and so he didn't die.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a mortal wound.
Yeah.
And so he like was a surgeon and, you know, beautiful healer.
Mm-hmm.
So he set to like heal himself and very quickly realized that it was a wound that wouldn't heal.
Mm-hmm.
And from that place, from living with that pain in a conscious way, became a sort of like master healer, like beyond, right?
Yeah.
Such that he could see someone and kind of diagnose them just by
Yeah.
being in their presence.
Yeah.
And is the archetype of the wounded healer,
Uh-huh.
which
Yeah.
he's the sort of presiding deity over our profession.
Cool. I can't believe I've never had that explained.
And he is in all of our astrological charts as well, in a
What-
particular sign and house.
In what I don't know
So
enough
Chiron is a
about
little
that.
planetoid in the sky, and so when you look at your whole chart,
You can see where.
you can see where, and so what themes, where your mortal wounds are, essentially.
Cool.
Yeah.
How have I mean also the thing I was thinking before but didn't say is in terms of cost, like you've really gotten to the cost recently by saying this is the heartbreak. The here's and like that it was hard to get to that place in all of the defended
Absolutely.
mess.
Right. Right. There was the cost of the mess that made me that re-insulated my aloneness.
Yeah.
That made it even harder.
Yeah.
Or perhaps that had to get so extreme in some ways that I sought. That had to get so extreme in some ways that I had to seek out something more.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, maybe I just like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think so many things, like I was saying in the beginning, like medical transition, psychedelic experiences, therapy, parent dying, divorce. So many things added up to help me kind of get to the real cost, or the real which is like all of this pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam, what as a wounded healer, as a therapist, what is I wonder about your professional lens on the experience of heartbreak, which obviously we have been talking about the entire time.
Totally.
But more like clinically speaking, someone comes in, a client, and is like, they left. I'm so alone. What's your how do you, what's your move? Like, how do you get in there with them? And how are you thinking about what that person is going through?
It sort of depends on how they're presenting. I'm thinking of, I'm taking this somatic trauma course right now, and I had this like practice session in that training with someone who ended up in like a 5-minute practice session, which was I felt so terribly about, but ended up in a really like freeze, in a pretty profound freeze state.
Oh. Like triggered within the but authentically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And after we were debriefing, and toward the end of the session, maybe it was 15 minutes, but towards the end of the session, I was like, "Hey, I just want to let you know that I'm here, and I'm inside here with you.
Yeah.
You can take as much space as you need, but I want you to know that I'm right here." And apparently, that was really nice for her to hear, and she would have liked if I had said that many minutes before. And so I'm thinking a lot about, like, I think when someone comes in heartbreak and they are in a sort of flight or freeze state where they're really pushing me away, I'm practicing these days, like, the subtle feeling through of, like, when to just say, like, let's be alone together.
Yeah.
Right? Let's be alone in this together. You feel alone? Okay, let's feel alone together.
Yeah.
I'm right here.
Well, because there can be in the work, like, when someone's in any kind of affect of like us wanting to fix it, them saying, fix it, what are you going to do? That like, that's the job.
Right.
And
Yes.
it's so rarely is.
No, almost never.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, whereas people who I feel like are in bigger like emotional responses, it's like a little easier because then you can just play in that arena. Right? Like I don't know. I think we're agreeing on some level that heartbreak is critical, and it's a rite of passage.
Yeah.
That happens over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like it's a heart opener. It's something to weirdly be celebrated.
100%. Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm like, and I keep saying this on this,
Yeah.
but like, that's what I didn't know the first times that was happening to me, that I was in this rite of passage.
Yes.
And so, yeah, and this is kind of what I want this whole thing to be, is just like, is like sharing the way that I've reframed it for myself.
Yeah.
And, but with also not with wanting to like wash away the fact that you gotta just fucking go through it.
And like, it's excruciating.
Yeah. And that these are lessons I've learned by feeling so bad. so bad. Yeah. So I like both wish for people to like get a little relief from knowing that this is just part of the deal. And also like and just being like, I'm here. Totally. I'm here too. And I've been there. And this is part of the deal.
Yeah, I think like one of the most beautiful parts of our job for me is being able to actually show how much I can tolerate of somebody else's pain.
Yeah.
And just being like, yep. Like just to sort of like say, yes, I'm here to hold it with you.
Yeah.
It doesn't scare me. I'm not going to get crushed by it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fold in on myself.
Yeah. I can get like, a thing I'm suspicious about myself is that I can get too excited about that. Where it's like, I'm like, watch what I can do. And it's like, that's not always great, but but it is.
But why not?
It's a powerful feeling to be unafraid.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I always joke about like how I love when people cry. I love crying people. I had a friend recently like text me being like, oh my God, I almost just called you crying. And I'm like, literally. It's my kink. So like anytime if I'm free, I will pick up and listen to you forever.
Yeah. I think clients can smell that on me. And that's just,
kink.
Or when this that like I've had people, joke about like, oh, you're going to get like paid in tears or like, kind of.
Totally.
Sam, thank you so much.
My deep, deep pleasure. It's so nice to sit and talk with you.
Yeah, you have to come back. I recently did like a mailbag episode, and you'd be like so good for that.
Love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Thank you.